Legal Maxing with Liz. Hi, welcome to Legal Maxing. I'm Liz Lagones, and I am so excited to be joined by Mimi Walker from Citgo. We've shared a stage together in the past. We certainly banter back and forth on LinkedIn, and I just love your insights, your voice in the legal community. So I had to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me, Liz. I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited.
Good. All right. Tell me your origin story. How did you get to legal operations?
I feel like I have to start with, what shapes me, right? What shapes me as a leader. I try to lead in everything that I do with compassion, with fairness, and a sense of responsibility. And that stems back from my mom. My mom, as an immigrant parent, she had to work very hard, several jobs, to take care of 5 kids. But with all of that, she still supported her community. Whenever she could help, take something or do something, she was there. And so that really informed me. In addition to that, I stand on the back of giants. So I'm Haitian. And as you know, Haiti was one of the first republics to free themselves, right, from slavery. And so to stand on the back of those types of people who fought for freedom, won against insurmountable odds, that gives me such confidence and pride that, like, I belong in any room that I walk into. I belong there. My people fought for me to be here. And those types of things are what leads me and helps me to lead and be there for other people and make sure that, people that I'm around are taken care of.
I love that. Your mom sounds spectacular.
She is.
Yeah.
Shout out to Solange.
I love it. So what a great backbone that gives you, right? Like a foundation that gives you. And how did your professional career start from that point? Did you always know you wanted to be in legal?
Well, I've always known that I wanted to get an education. Education is very important, and our culture is important, in my family, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get an education. I ended up actually doing communications, broadcasting. That's what I majored in. I was working, you're young, right? There's a lot of options, choices you have to make.
Do we want to start counting here?
Right. You know how it is. So I had to make a decision. I already had a job my last year of college in commercial insurance, and it was a pretty good job, came with all the benefits and everything.
Yeah.
And to really be successful in broadcasting out of school, you have to move to a small little town, work your way up.
That's rough.
I couldn't do that. I had to pay bills, right? So I stayed legal up in commercial insurance. I became an auditor, and that led me to become risk manager.
What?
Yeah, risk manager over the risk management department for a company, and then started working more with legal, started working more with operations, started reporting to the COO, helping with, different company initiatives that we have. But that brought me close to the general counsel, who was kind of new, was structuring his department. And that was something I've always been passionate about because I also have a project management background. And so
everything's coming together right now for me in working with you.
And so I was like, when I see an issue, I always want to be like, hey, we could do this better. I could help you with this. And that's what I did. I was like, hey, I could help you with this. I could help you. I know you're new. You're trying to get your way around. And there's some things we could do differently. And that's what it started out. We started helping, doing certain things. We started out with spreadsheets, right? Outlining goals and things that we need to do in the legal department, talking to the contract managers, having a process for outside counsel management. Boom. And here I am now. Didn't know that legal operations was a thing. Didn't even know that without being an attorney or paralegal, you could work in legal. But that's how I got into legal.
That's what's so exciting about legal operations is that there is not one single path into legal operations. And I think that is the beauty of the mindset and the profession, because in order to run a business, legal is a business.
It is.
You need different frameworks and different, I would say, not belief systems, but methodologies to bring it all together. Because when you're sitting in legal ops, you are touching the entire organization of a company. And having those different flavors is quite valuable. So actually, I just learned you came from audit. That's pretty exciting. You brought me back to my Citigroup days where I used to like interact with audit a lot and
See?
put them in
Yeah.
a room with all the files. This is when we had paper
Mhm.
back in the
Yep.
day. Some donuts and coffee.
Mhm.
All right. So I love your origin story. We'll unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
But this show is about giving our audience some tangible takeaways. So like once they're done with their walk and listening to us, they can go about and apply some of it. So, what's a maxing moment? What is legal getting wrong today?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked this, Liz, because I recently posted something on LinkedIn that kind of went viral. And the subject matter is, about how legal leaders sometimes treat the legal operations function as a task type of function, as an administrative support type of function. But in actuality, legal operations, the work of operations, is a strategic, type of function.
Sure.
It's helping with strategy. It's helping to make the department run smoother. Have It's making sure that there's processes in place, that our technology works. That you're choosing the correct technology, the right technology that works for the attorneys. Making sure that we remove obstacles out of their way so they can focus on being lawyers, doing their legal work. That's the goal of legal operations. So it's more conversations, it's more strategizing, it's more planning to make sure that things are optimized to the best that we can have it in our department. It's less, the everyday administrative type of work. And I understand, in all departments you have assistants, you have legal assistants, you have paralegals, and all of those functions are important. They help to keep, things running. But legal operations, we have to start thinking about it differently. This is business. We're making sure that the department runs like a business, that we have metrics, that we have reporting, that we can have conversations with the CEO about what's happening, in our department. We could show numbers, we could show impact. That's what we do.
Yeah. And you said it's about thinking. And, one of the things that I have said for many years is legal operations is a mindset first.
Yeah.
It's a function second.
Hmm.
And it is the responsibility of everyone in the legal department to have that operational mindset into them. Now, lawyers are such talented, thoughtful professionals. That balance, though, of running a business, it's not something that is learned in law school traditionally. Moves are being made there on that front. And it's certainly not something that is also ingrained in them when they work in a law firm either. Again, that is changing
Hmm.
today. But when you bring in professionals whose job is to partner with the lawyers and the leadership and their direct reports around building that mindset, building that language, and then also have the responsibility of partnering with them in building strategy and putting in the operational framework, that data framework. Wow,
Game
can
changer.
yes, game changer, right? Everybody can fly. And I don't, I just wanted to also touch upon this and ask you, do you feel that staying aligned not only with what the legal department needs to do, but with what the broader organization company, and if you're in a law firm, how are you aligning with your customers'
Right.
goals and vision and strategy? Would you say that's the role in legal
That's
ops?
definitely the role. I mean, I feel like that's number one. You need to make sure whatever we're doing, we are aligning with the vision of the company, the goals of the company, right? So that's how you should structure how you move, how you strategize is making sure that we're all aligned. So if everything is aligned and you're able to show impact, to me that's a win-win for the company and for the department.
Absolutely. All right. So everybody's going to listen to this and be like, all right, but now what? What do I do? What should our listeners focus on this quarter?
This quarter. So for this quarter, we're talking about second quarter of the year, right? So by now you already have information for quarter one, right? So this is the time to have that conversation about, what impact did we have in quarter one? What are the things that we implemented? What are the things that we did? Who did we help? How many things did we process? And how did that have an overall impact? How did you help with contracts and agreements with the sales team? You know, did you help them meet their first quarter goals or first quarter deadlines, right? For getting certain things signed. This is the time to have that conversation to kind of, pop your collar a little bit,
Have a
um,
little swagger to you.
exactly. And have your numbers ready. This is the time. Second quarter, let's talk about all the great things that we did in the first quarter.
Yep, absolutely. And don't be afraid around failures.
No,
Sometimes things don't go right,
it
and
happens.
that's okay. But what did you learn from it?
Exactly. And it's earlier in the year, right?
Hmm.
Something happened that didn't go, exactly how you wanted it. Well, you have about 3 more quarters to
Absolutely.
make it, to fix that, or to
Yeah.
to, change direction, do what you need to do
The
to have a
pivot.
successful end of
That could,
year.
yes. We could talk about a pivot on another one.
Mhm.
All right. So the way that we're going to end legal maxing is with a max it or kill it. Let's start with kill it. What would you kill?
Stop thinking small. Stop thinking that we are just a small function within the legal department. I feel like legal operations, because we work with so many different areas of legal, right? Constantly talking to finance, I'm reporting to them.
It's a marriage.
Right. uh, about our performance. We're having those conversations. We're talking accounting all the time, right? Making sure that things are being processed, bills are being paid, seeing what, we could be doing different to make sure, our customers are, receiving the service that they need. We're talking to other operations leaders, see how they're doing things in their departments, and some companies, invoicing is not just something that happens here at legal, from outside counsel, for instance, right? There's other people that are being invoiced. What systems are they using? What are they doing differently? Don't play small. Don't think that we're in a silo because we're in legal. A lot of people respect legal. They respect what we do.
Mhm.
And so I think it's good for us to get out there more, right?
Is that your max it or do you have a max it?
That so my max it, so that was the stop, like stop being small, right? So my max it is tell the story. Be more visible, be more consistent about telling the legal operation story, talking about the impact of what we do. And that includes talking to your own manager, your
Mhm.
GC, your CLO. You know, they're busy, they're working, they're doing, what I'm saying, what they need to do. They're managing things, right? So now everybody's focusing on what legal's doing. And sometimes operations is background, right? You're doing things, you're making sure things are running smoothly. And once that happens, everybody thinks, oh, it's just, that's just how it is. You hear about it when it's not running smoothly. But sometimes you have to tell people what you're doing back there to make it run smoothly. Why is it that, our KPIs are so high, or SLAs are so high, our contracts are getting, done well. This is what we did. This is what we implemented. Why is it my budget process went so much smoother this year,
Mhm.
right? This is what we implemented. This
It
is what
wasn't
we
magic and
automated.
prayer
It
alone
was
that's
not.
got it done.
Exactly.
No.
So I was actually talking to some Connexo executive yesterday, and also I was at dinner with Laura Zedone, who is the chairman of Clock. And we were talking about this, and one thing that Laura brought up was to make sure that you have a deck. She always makes sure that all of her people have a deck ready to go. The deck always includes what was the issue, how did I solve it, what was the impact, how does that tie with the company strategy in addition to department strategy.
Mhm.
So you keep those notes, you keep that information throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, that conversation should be easy.
I love that. I resonate with that because it's something that I've always told my teams, and it's something that I work with my teams on at Nitratech. Even if you don't have a deck, right? It's have that talk track, right? When you're speaking to leadership or your business partners or what have you, it's in a concise way. What's the issue?
Mm-hmm.
How you're going to solve it,
Yep.
and what is the impact. Now let them come to you and ask what is the further detail, and let them unpack that, right? That's how we take it to the max here at
That's how we
Legal
take it.
Maxing. So kill it. Stop acting small,
Right.
right? Own your stuff
Hmm.
is what I heard. And two, the power of the story and storytelling, big and small.
Yes.
Mimi, love you. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me,
Of
Liz.
course.